the Owatonna City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, December 1st. May we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Svenby.
Here.
Dodson.
Here.
Okaberg.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Kuntz.
Here.
We have all 7 of the council and the mayor present.
Thank you. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight on this beautiful winter night. And with that, we do have one change to the agenda. 3.3.2 is a resolution 9515. We've been asked to pull it because not everything is ready for presentation yet, so we will be pulling that from the agenda. With that change, we'll look for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Nate Dotson to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Moving on to financial report, and we'll ask Councilmember Schultz to read the financial report.
Expenditures presented for approval tonight are as follows. Checks over $20,000 include $36,928 to Hazelton Construction for the 2015 street and utility project final payment, $400,000 to Viracon, which is a pass-through of a Minnesota Investment Fund grant, $164,226 to the Owatonna Relief Association, which is a pass-through of state aid for the fire department, $117,468 to the Southeast Service Cooperative, which is the November health insurance premiums. Other expenditures of $294,581, making a subtotal of $1,013,205. Add to that the HRA Section 8 payments of $59,623, makes a total of $1,072,828.76 submitted for approval tonight.
Thank you. Any questions on the financial report?
Pay the bills.
We have a motion by Kevin Rainey to pay the bills. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Moving down to the consent agenda items, which are minutes of meetings, permit requests, commissioner reports, etc., grouped into one motion. What is the council's wishes there?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Brent Svenby to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Jeff Burbank. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Moving down to the action items, we have ordinance 3.2.1, second reading of proposed ordinance 14-15, chapter 35 sewer rates. And this we will go to Kyle.
Good evening. This is a second reading of the proposed increase to the sewer rates. The last time the ordinance was adjusted was in August of 2013. That included a few increases to the rate at varied times. The most recent increase was in January of 2015. This new increase would accommodate taking over the sanitary sewer services within the right-of-way, and 3% across the board rate to both the meter or the base charge and the flow charge. And staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions from the council?
Motion to approve with 2 typographical corrections to the ordinance.
Okay.
If you look at the bottom of page 1, it says the new charge should be $12.50. That should read $13.50. And the top of the next page where it says a charge of $7 per month, that should read $8 per month. It's done correctly numerically, but not in the words.
Okay. You will do that with those corrections. Motion to approve.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve with the corrections. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion there? This being an ordinance, ask for roll call.
Councilmember Svenby.
Aye.
Dodson.
Aye.
Okaberg.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
Thank you. This has been approved. This is the second reading, so this is now a done deal. Moving on to 3.2.2, second reading of proposed ordinance 15-15, section 94-.079, sewer service ownership. And back to Kyle.
Good evening. Again, this is a second reading for, as I previously mentioned, taking over the sanitary sewer services within the right-of-way. We're adding a base charge of $1 per month, which will generate approximately $114,000 per year. We expect that will cover the costs, and we will monitor that closely to make sure it is and recommend adjustments as necessary. The cost of the service repair, I've always said it's probably 80% is within the right-of-way, where we're replacing street, potentially concrete streets, high-volume roadways can get rather costly. So we think this is a good plan and recommend approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate Dotson to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, ask for a roll call on this.
Councilmember Svenby.
Aye.
Dodson.
Aye.
Okaberg.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
Thank you. This has been approved, and again, this second reading, this is now complete. Moving down to 3.2.3, second reading of proposed ordinance 16-15, section 93.004, repairs to broken water service lines. Back to Kyle.
This is just clarifying the city's right and responsibility to repair broken water services on private property that are causing a public nuisance. And while we believe we had the authority to do that previously, we want to clarify that. There has been a couple of instances last year where the broken service was causing a nuisance and frozen ice in the gutter or on the roadway, and we just want to clarify our right and also previously passed policy on how we approach these repairs. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Questions from the council? What is the council?
Approve.
We have a motion by Kevin Rainey to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, ask for a roll call.
Councilmember Svenby.
Aye.
Dodson.
Aye.
Okaberg.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
This has been approved, and again, this the second reading is complete now. Moving down to 3.2.4, the first reading of proposed ordinance 17-15, section 52.03, stormwater utility factors. And that, we're back to Kyle.
Good evening. Previously this year, a new rate structure was adopted for the stormwater fund. As we went through and applied that new rate structure to the different services around town, we realized that our intent for the townhomes, multifamily housing, and mobile homes, while we understood it, wasn't 100% clear. So this is just clarifying that mobile homes, multifamily townhomes with their own individual meter will pay 80% of the single family rate. So a building with 20 residents in it and each individual apartment metered, each resident would pay about $2.34 for the stormwater charge. We did some thinking about that as to whether or not to charge the residents or to charge the property, but in the end, the costs, if we charge the property, will be passed along to the residents anyway. So talked to one individual and they said, you know, just add it to my bill because it'll get in there anyway. So we felt that especially with the multifamily, it's not real clear on how to apply the stormwater rate to the individual properties. Adopting this policy cleared up most of the problems where we were trying to make judgment calls. So still left a few where we have to make some judgment calls, but by and large, there's about 900 properties that fall in this category, and it just simplifies everything. So we recommend approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Dave Burbank to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, we'll ask for roll call.
Councilmember Svenby.
Aye.
Dotson.
Aye.
Oakberg.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
And Abraham.
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
This has been approved, and this is the first reading. We'll come back for the second reading at our next council meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay. Moving on down to resolutions 3.3.1, resolution 94-15, accept bids and award contract roof repair at 224 North Cedar Avenue, and this will go to Troy.
Well, at the last council meeting, the council authorized staff to proceed with bids for a new roof on the Bubba's Bar building. The city published notices and emailed interested contractors, and bids were opened this morning at 10 a.m. We did have 4 contractors bid on the project. The lowest base bid was Mo's Contracting for $130,000. The architect also recommended that we get a alternate bid on snow removal, as that's going to be a key part in keeping this moving along and preventing any further damage. And Mo's Contracting was the lowest on the snow removal at $150 per event as well. It is important to note that the snow removal is at a per occurrence price, and that was again brought up by the architect. We also feel that the city should consider adding a contingency fund for this project. There will most likely be some unknowns as they do the construction project. And with the timing of this project being very critical, we would recommend that a 20% contingency be put into an account for things that may pop up during construction here, so that we can keep the process moving. So that would amount to about $26,000. Again, the HRA and the EDA are splitting the costs on the roof repairs at 50% apiece. So staff would recommend approval of the low bid of $130,000 and award the contract to Mo's Contracting with a $150 charge for each snow removal. Staff is also recommending a contingency fund of $26,000 be allocated to allow for a timely completion of the project.
Thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council?
Hey, question. Just curious, do you know how they're going to remove snow from up there? Because looking at the numbers here, how does somebody go from $1,200 per event to $150? Big spread.
Yeah, and I think each of them had a different way of doing it. It sounded like Mo's Contracting was going to use cranes for most of all the construction, and my guess is, they would have either somebody up there or using equipment to get it off there from the cranes.
Okay.
Any other questions? What is the council's wishes? Oh, I'm sorry.
Estimate on time, how long it's going to take to repair that roof?
In our specs, completion needs to be done by February 1st, although the contractor was very eager to get going on this. And I mean, everyone's motivated to get it done because the colder it gets, the tougher the project is going to be. So it's easier to do it in 30-degree weather than in 10 below degree weather. So I think it'll likely be done much sooner than that. But we did put a 60-day time frame in there for completion.
Other questions?
I just have a comment, for the general public. It's when you look at where the money is coming from, HRA, that's Housing and Redevelopment Authority, EDA, Economic Development Authority. Those two entities see this as very important for Owatonna, and I agree with them. I think that what we're doing here is we're investing in downtown Owatonna, and the alternative would be to say we don't believe in downtown Owatonna, and I fully support this.
Is that a motion?
I will make a motion to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion by Kevin Rainey to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. They can start tomorrow, right?
We'll hopefully have the contract signed tomorrow, and they'll begin soon after that. so.
Okay, thank you. Now, moving on to, looks like that's it for the items on the agenda. We now move down to public comment, and if anyone in the audience wishes to speak on anything not on the agenda, please come forward.
Good evening. I wrote a letter to the editor, and I just want to read it to everybody because it touches on economics, and it seems like we're talking dollars and cents tonight. It's not on the agenda per se, but anyway, subject to the letter, I titled it Climate Change. I recommend viewing TPT2's, this is Twin Cities Public Television, The Cost of Climate Change in Minnesota. Bob Johnson of the Insurance Federation of Minnesota highlights the increase in property insurance costs in the last decade. The occurrence of hail, wind, and flood events is driving the cost of increases. Paul Douglas, climatologist, gives the why and how this has happened. In the book Unprecedented, Can Civilization Survive the CO2 Crisis? Page 15, the term global warming and climate change have often been used as if they were synonymous. However, as the website Skeptical Science has pointed out, these terms refer to two different physical phenomena. The term global warming properly refers to the long-term trend of rising average global temperature, while global climate change refers to the changes in the global climate that result from the global warming. Instead of being synonyms, these two terms are related as cause and effect. Global warming causes global climate change. As a agreed energy nerd, physics, St. John's University, 1973, I want to cite some numbers relating to fossil fuels. The world consumes greater than 80 million barrels a day of oil, greater than 20,000 tons per day of coal, and greater than 300 billion cubic feet per day of natural gas or methane. The combustion equation for methane, the simplest hydrocarbon, is CH4 plus 2O2 yields CO2 plus 2H2O plus energy. Essentially, methane plus oxygen yields carbon dioxide plus water. I want to point out in the combustion equation above that every carbon dioxide molecule takes 2 oxygen molecules out of use. Does anyone else see the tragedy of the commons here? We can't change the laws of nature, but we can change our response to nature. Next month, I'm going to have another one, and that's going to hinge on this. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to council comment, and we will start with Brent.
Got nothing this evening.
Nate?
Nothing to add.
Jeff?
Couple comments. If the public could consider shopping in our small town local businesses, appreciate that for the next month. We're looking at shopping season, and hope to see everybody at the December 6th holiday train event.
Thank you, Jeff. Greg?
Nothing this evening.
Greg, Dave?
Just ask everybody to be careful out there. We're into Minnesota again for the next 6 months, so we all have to relearn how to drive again.
Thank you, Dave. Kevin?
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Tom?
Nothing to add.
Chris?
Nothing here either.
And I have nothing at this time, so drive safely, be careful, and look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin Rainey to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.